My name is Stacy Shaw, and I'm so excited to welcome you here today for our AC. I'm the co-chair of the ACC-DFW Wellness Committee, and we're so excited to bring this new and exciting opportunity to you because today, starting this week, I should say, is Wellbeing in Law Week, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I'm so excited to introduce one of my personal colleagues as well, Michael Michaels from Mega Mobile. He is my twins gymnastics coach, and he and I had this vision a few weeks ago to offer this. And so we're so excited how it's come together and can't wait to show you. So Michael, take it away.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Michaels, as she said. Thank you, Stacy. And I'm so excited to be joining the ACC-DFW chapter. Today, we're going to be going over some things for the importance of stretching and what all it involves. Now, a lot of this is to obviously help us get in for the mindfulness, to be aware of everything. One thing we want to make sure that as we're doing anything of this sort, we want to make sure we are staying hydrated. That is one of the things that is super important that a lot of people don't understand, especially when you're exercising and moving around and just doing all sorts of whatever it may be. So make sure that you have a drink of water always. Now, one of the things to help stretching and what all it involves is it helps keep the muscles flexible. Obviously, the more flexible it is, the easier it is to do a lot of things, and the more it can help. Let's say if something happens, it can help with pain and injury. Is it a for sure thing you won't ever get hurt? No, but it can help heal the process a lot faster. The more flexible you are, it makes everything a lot stronger and just keeps overall your whole body a lot more flexible and healthy and all of that. It can help improve your posture. A lot of people, especially when you're working at the desk, it's hard to keep a good posture because you're constantly leaning on the desk or doing all sorts of whatever it is. It helps increase the range of motion, as far as your looking, your moving ability, all of that. It can help decrease back pain, which anybody that works in an office, we all, even if you're not in an office, we all get that back pain. So obviously, the more we stretch, the more we become aware of our body, the better it becomes. It can decrease muscle soreness. So let's say sore on one side or whatever. And if you start stretching it a little bit more, not too much, obviously you want to ease it out. It'll help with that. It helps prevent injuries in the future because as we know, anything can happen. I mean, you can walk and step off a curb and, hurt yourself just from doing that. But if we keep up with stretching and, exercising each muscle in our whole body, there's so much that's going on. It'll help prevent that in the future. Is it a guarantee? It's not, but it can help prevent it. And our biggest factor, obviously, that we all want to help is it helps lower the stress level. We all have tons of stress and we want to try to bring that down and keep it down as much as possible. So yes, now on this next slide, as we go over everything, the first thing we have is called the arm opener, okay? Now, what does the arm opener do? It helps stretch our muscles in our arms, our chest, and our shoulders. Most people don't realize that a lot of your tension, a lot of your stress is indeed in your chest and your shoulders because it's constantly right there. You're on everything. So what we're going to do is to get in position, you want to stand, as y'all can see, yes, this is me. You want to stand with your feet apart, flat on the floor. Make sure your chest is upright and your head is forward. In this position, interlock your hands and knuckles and have your knuckles to where they're interlocked facing down. Now what we're going to do if you see this arrow right here on the picture, you'll start it with against your hips and then you're going to slowly rise them up behind you as far as you can go. When you get to a position that's just comfortable far enough, that's when you stop and you'll hold it for 3 seconds. Now, as you're moving your shoulders, we're going to take 5 deep breaths. Make sure when you're breathing, we want to breathe from our chest inside. It's one thing to just go, but when we really do it, we want to make sure that we're focusing on that breathing. Breathing technique is so important as we do it. So we're going to do a couple of sets, just kind of, get used to it and everything like that. So as you're standing, put your arms behind you, slowly reach them back. As you're doing it, breathe, and then hold it there for 3 seconds, and then slowly come back down. You'll want to do that probably 3 to 5 times as you do it. Now, you can do it throughout the day. It's something very simple that will help stretch and just loosen up, especially your upper body, because that is where a lot of your stress is holding, because that's just where everything goes. And, you're constantly leaning over, and, when you're on the desk, your arms are on the desk. So it's putting pressure in your shoulders. So it's very important that we especially relieve as much stress. Is it going to relieve everything? No, stress is going to always be there, but it's important that we relieve as much stress as possible as we do it. So we're going to do it one more time, just to you're going to stand there, make sure you're facing forward, head is center, focus on something that helps you keep your mind focused. Make sure your hands are interlocked and your knuckles are facing down. We're going to stretch it back and then hold it there for 3 seconds, and then come back down slowly. Again, as we're doing this, focus on your breathing. Make sure you're taking deep breaths and not just, like a normal breath. Obviously, the deeper your breath is as we're doing it, the more stress it helps relieve. Like I said, try to do 3 to 5 sets if you can. And then later on in the day, if you get another little small break, 5-minute break or whatever, if you can, 3 times a day. If you can do a little bit more, that's even better. Obviously, the more stretching you do, the better it is for your body. The more tension, the more stress, everything it releases in your body, and the more flexible ultimately you become. Now, on this next slide, as you can see, this can be done anywhere. You can be sitting in a chair, or as you can see how I'm doing it right here, you can just get on the ground real quick. This is called the chin drops. Now, what it does, again, we're focusing on the shoulders because that's where a lot of our attention is, and our neck right here. So it stretches our neck and our shoulders all at the same time. What we want to make sure is, as you're in this position, whether you're sitting in a chair or on the ground, you're going to put your arms in front, obviously. Elbows are parallel. We want to make sure they're parallel to each other. So we don't want them out like this or anything like that, because then that's just a whole different entirety of a stretch. Make sure your palms are facing down and your fingers are touching slightly as you do it. What you're going to do now, we have to make sure, obviously, as we're doing this position, that we're not just yanking down on our head, because then that will bring a little bit more into the stress, because then you could ultimately just hurt yourself more than you are stretching. You're going to put your palms on top of your head. You're going to pull down slowly. As you do that, make sure you take 5. Again, we are focusing on our breathing technique. This, I can't stress enough how important it is to focus on your breathing. It's not just any everyday breathing. You're going to have your palms down, like I said, on top of your head. You're going to pull your head down as you do it. Make sure we're breathing. When you get to a comfortable position, pull down as far as you can go. Hold it for about 3 seconds. Take some deep breaths. And then as you're in that position, you're going to come back up slowly again. You'll relax a couple seconds, stretch your neck out, and then go back to that position again. Again, you'll pull it down. Make sure you're breathing as you're going down, focusing on that breathing. When you get down as far as you can, hold it, and then slowly come back all the way up. Again, this is something you can do as you're sitting in a chair. Obviously, I'm sitting in a chair and I'm able to do it. Or if you're more comfortable on getting on the ground, you can get in the position how I was right here in this picture. So we'll do one more. Arms here, fingers touching. Slowly pull down. Make sure you're taking deep breaths as you're doing it, and then slowly come back up. And then relax as you're doing that. Now for this next slide, we're gonna go into, this is gonna stretch more going to our lower body. This is for our hips. Now, what does stretching our hips do? It can balance your hips, which ultimately, I don't know if you've ever felt when you're walking, sometimes it can hurt. That could be a form of your hips being out of alignment. So it's very important that we try to keep our hips aligned and balanced. It stretches your lower legs, your hamstrings, as well as your lower back. Obviously going into it, our lower back, that can help lessen tension and our back pain. What you're gonna do as you do this, you want to put your feet together. As you can see in this left picture right here, my feet are together, legs together as close as you can. You're going to walk your hands down as far as you can go. Try to put them flat on the ground. Not everybody can. And if you can't, that's okay. The more we do this, the more you do this, shall I say, the more flexible and easier this will become. I don't expect everybody to just be able to go flat on the ground. This isn't an easy position to do, and it stretches out your lower back especially a lot. So there could be where your fingertips barely touch the ground. If this is the ground, it could be where it's like this, or where you're barely like this, or where your hands are flat. Either way works. You got to start somewhere. So put your fingers either flat on the ground, as close to the ground, or whatever works best for you. What you're going to do is, obviously, you'll have your legs straight while in this first position. As you go into the next position, you're going to bend forward one of your legs. Right at the knee, you're going to bend it, and you're going to alternate between the two legs. As you bend one side, hold it for a couple of seconds. 1, 2, 3, then you're gonna push that leg back straight while maintaining your hands on the ground. Then you're gonna bend your other leg and hold it. 1, 2, 3. Now, as far as counting goes, I like to, there's various ways of trying to get an actual count. A lot of people will just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I try to change it up with like different words, 1 Mississippi, or 1 gymnastics, or 1 football, or something that I can add on to it. So then it'll give me an actual second versus just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because what could happen is if you're just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then ultimately you're not getting that true count. And then it's not enabling your body to get the proper stretch and the proper amount of time for you to be able to do all of these stretches. Now, as you alternate the legs, you want to make sure that you're maintaining your feet obviously flat on the ground. Now, as you bend your leg, obviously at the knee, it's going to come up a little bit, but try to maintain the feet flat. Again, as we're doing it, focus on that breathing. Focus on keeping the deep breaths from your chest. Focus on as we're inhaling, and focus on exhaling as well. We're going to do this a couple of times. Hold it, and then switch legs, and everything like that. So let's do it for 3 times. You're going to stand there, hold it, bend your left leg, and then switch legs. Now, one thing I want to make sure that all of these exercises, no matter what, if you're not able to do any of these exercises or stretches or anything like that, don't feel bad. Don't be like, I can't do this. There are all alternatives on different ways of doing these exercises. And ultimately, you want to start off doing it the best and the ability that your body has to be able to do it. Don't feel like you have to do it exactly like how it is in the picture. I've been doing this for a long time, so it's a little bit different. So if it's a little bit off, that's okay. It's a work in progress. You want to work up to it. Now, On this next slide, as we go into this next slide right here, this is the arm stretch. This stretches our triceps and our shoulders. If you haven't realized today, I'm focusing a lot on our shoulders. Again, I can't stress enough how important it is to try to relieve the stress from our shoulders, because also ultimately that's where a lot of it is hanging on. And a lot of people don't realize that because, I mean, you just move on to your day to day and you just continue doing it. Now, as we want to get into this position, as you can see on this first picture with me facing forward, we took two so that way you can see the back of it as well. You're gonna stand with your feet together, again, keeping your chest up. As we go through this, we wanna focus on our breathing. You're gonna keep your feet together, heels touching. You're gonna keep your shoulders down and keep it back. Because we don't wanna be like this and then try to do it, and then you're gonna look all sorts like this. What you're going to do as you're doing it, again, your head is gonna face forward. Okay, you're going to bring it up in this position. As you're holding this, you're going to use whichever hand here is holding on to this elbow. You're going to pull it a little bit back. You're going to bend it. Make sure as we're doing it, we're breathing. You want to feel it stretch right here. Okay, you should also feel it in your shoulders as you're stretching when you're doing it. Again, we're going to hold it for a good 15 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds. Make sure as we're doing it, we're breathing, 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 breathing. Make sure you're staying hydrated as well. It's super important. The more hydrated we are, the easier it becomes for our muscles to relax a lot more too. So as you do it, make sure we're holding it. Focus on your breathing, hold it, and then you'll relax that side. Then you'll do the same thing. The other side, switch your arms. Keep it right here next to you. You'll reach over and do the same thing, just opposite direction. You'll use this hand, obviously, to pull and feel that stretch. Again, in your arms, right here in your triceps, as well as your shoulders right here. You want to feel it as you're pulling, stretch. We don't want to just yank it out or yank it in front or whatever. You want to slowly, each of these exercises is slowly doing it. It's not about how quickly we can do it. It's the focus on doing the actual exercise and the focus on how we're breathing and focusing on feeling this stretch right here in our triceps as well as our shoulders. Holding it, holding it, holding it, and then back down. After you do it in between each side, if you want to just, kind of move your shoulders a little bit to get them down. You want to do this again, 3 to 5 sets. You can do this in between your little breaks. You can do this if you're walking from, let's say you're at work, you can do this if you're going from your desk to the restroom, or if you're working from home and you have to go grab something in the other room. You can do this from walking from one place to the other, because it is standing, and it's something that, if you're moving, it's fine. You're still able to hold that position, obviously, moving forward as we do it. Now, since we have that, our next slide, this one right here, it's a weird name, but I like it. It's actually one of my favorite stretches to do because it aligns your spine and it improves your posture. It helps with range of motion, everything. We call this the yo-yo stretch. Now, why do we call that? Is because, well, basically you're, in a nutshell, moving kind of like a yo-yo, how it's going back and forth. What you want to do, obviously, to get in this position, you want your feet shoulder width apart, toes slightly angled out, whatever's comfortable for you, obviously. You're going to interlace your hands here, and then bring them to about your chest level. We don't want them up too high. We don't want them up down too low. As you do it, you're going to extend your arms from your chest. Make sure it's out here as you're doing it with your palms facing away from your body. We don't want them turned in or anything like that. And then as far as your elbows, have them turned in as well when you do it. Now, what you're going to do, again, focus on our breathing as we're doing this. You're going to keep your chest up still. You're going to slowly turn to one side as far as you can go, and then just hold it there. You should feel a stretch in your lower back. You should feel it in your spine. You should feel it, a lot in your back. You're going to hold that stretch as you do it. You're going to hold it for a couple of seconds, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. And then you're going to slowly, as you come back, again, we're taking deep breaths as we're doing this, breathing, focusing on it as we're doing it. You're going to slowly come back to the forward position right here, and then slowly go to the other side, okay? Make sure our range of motion as we turn, we're turning our head with it as well. We're not just keeping it forward. We're turning our head with it as well. Again, you're gonna hold it, but we wanna try to make sure that our hips are forward, keeping our lower half forward as much as possible. You're just turning the top half of your body. Again, try to do this 15 times per side. If you can, you can start off with 5 until you get used to it. Go back and forth because everything is dependent on how much time you have. And you'll do each side back and forth. Now, all of these stretches can be done throughout the day. I recommend doing it multiple times. Obviously, like I said before, it only helps relieve stress. It helps you gain more flexibility and overall better posture. The more aware we are of our body, the easier it becomes for us to do things and to be able to move forward. As we look at everything, that is our main stretches for today. Again, make sure we are staying hydrated, hydrated. You can't drink enough water as it is. For next week, we're going to go on to the second part of stretching as well. And we're going to focus on a little bit more stretching as far as everything goes. And then if you have any questions or whatever, feel free to type it in the chat and we will try to answer all of them as best as we can and have them to you if we can by next week. Stacy, thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael. Hope everyone enjoyed. This was our first week. And as you know from the emails you've received, we're going to do this for the rest of May for the month, every Friday, same time, same place on Zoom. So does anyone have any questions for Michael? We've got about another minute. So yes, I just got a question on the slide deck. Susan will send out the slides and the recording. We have been recording, so for anyone who registered. Well, if there's no other questions, thanks everyone, and we will see you next week. Have a great weekend.